Today, we're going to continue our fashion design by designing sneakers using the layers palette and the magic wand tool, and I think we're going to embed a few textures. So first thing you need to do is identify a sneaker that you want. You're going to download it to your folder, then you're going to open it in Photoshop, and when you do, you're going to go to File, Open, and it should appear in front of you just like this. Then you're going to press F7. We know F7 opens and closes the layers palette. The very first thing we need to do right off the bat is unlock the layer. To do that, we're going to double click in the layers palette where it says background, and then we can rename the layer if you want. You don't have to, but I'm going to rename it, and I'm actually going to change the color to red just so I know where it is. So here I can see it's red, and here on out, this template, this sneaker has always got to be in the top layer. But let's add some textures, some visuals. So you can Google things like Peter Griffin or LeBron James or whatever you want to embed into your sneaker. I'm, however, going to recommend that you Google textures. So if you Google textures and then click on images, we've got lots of really fun things that we can include in our sneaker. And if you wanted to do, for example, textures, let's say fire, we've got some pretty cool stuff. But I'm going to go back, and we've also actually got all these options on the top. But let's say we like something like this. I'm going to let it load. I'm then going to, and this is a pretty big image. This is actually going to be a huge image. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy image. There we go. I'm going to copy image, and I'm going to paste it on top. And look what happens. It's going to cover the whole thing. That is enormous. So what I can do is press Control T to change the size. But we see one of the bounding boxes, right? But it's so big that it doesn't even really make sense. So what I'm going to do is go to the top. I'm going to change it to 22. And I'm actually going to zoom out. Check this out, guys. If I zoom out all the way and press Control T again, I can see that it's all the way over there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and now what we can do is simply take this layer, drag it beneath. It's not gone. It's not deleted. But what we need to do is cut a hole in the sneaker so we can see it. So now I'm going to go to the front. Oh, look at that. Why is this happening? This is happening because we're still on that texture layer. So let's switch to the Nike layer. Let's try again. And now when I press delete, Control D, I can now see that we've got this texture underneath. We're going to need to shift it over. And that looks pretty cool. All right. If we go back to these textures, I'm going to go back, and because we're going to be dealing with some really high resolution images, here's what I recommend. If you click on Search Tools and then Size, for today and today only, let's click on Medium. And let's see what comes up. So now we're looking at medium ones. So now when we find a texture that we think looks pretty cool, let's say, for example, this one. Now when I copy the image, it's not going to be as huge as the other one was. I press Control V, and there it is. If you paste and you can't see it, but we notice it's in the layers palette, we can simply move these layers around, and there you go. That's a great size. So I'm not loving the color scheme between these two layers, but whatever. I'm going to go like this. Make sure we select the Nike layer, because if we don't, and I select right here, look at that. You guys see that? That's no good. Make sure we're on the Nike layer. Nike layer is going to be at top. I'm going to press, I'll do press right here, delete, Control D, and you can try to get one or two images in there, different textures. Here on out, what we're going to do is use the eyedropper tool to select a color, and let's use the magic wand. I'm going to select the Nike, make sure we're on the Nike layer. Let's select the swoosh, and I'm going to select two colors. I'm going to use the gradient tool, and let's see what happens. That's pretty cool. So we've got lots of room to work with. One final suggestion, if we were to use these two colors, I would recommend that if we're using the gradient on the shoelaces, that you do one shoelace at a time. So I'm actually just pressing W and then pulling. So W, and then I'm doing this rather than selecting multiple areas. And we know we can select multiple areas if we press and hold Shift, right? We don't want to do that, because if we did do that, here's an example of what that would look like. So if I'm holding Shift, I'm selecting all these areas, and I go like this, that doesn't look good. That doesn't even make sense. But I suppose if you wanted to go like that, that might work, but that still doesn't look great. This is going to take time. I need you guys to be on point working until the bell. I cannot wait to see your final product. Good luck.